Chartered Adventuring! Welcome back to another Elsewheres in Oz episode. This should be part 2 of the Buttery Bludgeoning of Bunbury, or just the Bludgeoning of Bunbury. When last we left our heroes...
Ian's
Phylla,
getting weird.
Is that right? Phylla? Your name? Phylla?
Oh, Phylla, yes.
Phylla,
Sorry,
okay.
I'm getting distracted with Ian, okay?
That's right. We'll get to Ian shortly, don't worry. So starting with Phylla, last we left off, she was talking with Kango. Both of you were engaged in a pretty intense conversation with each other. He was attempting to whip the town into a frenzy, and you were...
I pointed out the flaw in his logic.
Yes. You were both engaged in a civil discourse of rhetoric with each other. It didn't really go anywhere, and you decided, I'm going to head towards my house, which coincidentally is also in his house's vicinity as well.
Well, because I was so frustrated. I was like, all right, you know what? I need to leave this conversation. I'm going to go home. I am going to try and calm down, make a nice cup of, I don't think tea, because I imagine if I drink tea, it's probably going to have bad effects on being a croissant. But the croissant equivalent of tea. I guess maybe just warm flour. I don't know.
Okay, most houses in Bunbury have a water pump and a milk pump in the back that you can pump fresh milk and water from. So you could have a nice hot cup of milk if you want to.
You could fill yourself up on hot chocolate.
Or some hot chocolate
croissant. They're delicious.
Yeah. And then so you're heading off towards home to have yourself a hot drink and calm down. And then when last we left Vance and Topper, you had been speaking at the entrance to the butter mine. You were talking to the critter foreman regarding Crunchsky, who is the last one seen possibly by the donut holes as working near the entrance of the mine accident that happened. Well, accident. Somebody, it looks like, deliberately jammed the mine with strawberry jam. So you two are heading off into the mine to find Crunchsky, and Phylla is, again, going home and having a drink. We're actually going to start with you two, and then we're going to swing back to Phylla. So you two are at the entrance to the mine, and you know you need to speak to the donut hole men. What do you do? The main entrance to the mine itself, there are several little access ways, of course, that go to different areas of the mine. In the main entranceway, you'll find the donut holes working on one side, tea cakes working on the other. Currently, there's a big issue with a plug and currently emptying out the mine of jam in the lower regions because it did start slowly gooping down and dripping into the mine itself. I'd like both of you to make perception rolls or investigation rolls, whichever one is better for you two, when looking at them. And I'm going to give you a clue if you do well. You got 15. A 15?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, mine's going to be perception, and I got a 10.
You got a 10? Okay. Both of you just realize when you're looking at everything, everybody that has jam on them, the jam only covers like their knees, their legs, their lower regions. You know that nobody drowned or died in the mine accident. Everybody managed to get out safely. And the only people that seem to have, especially Vance, you notice that only the people the one or two that were working with you to plug the hole are covered in jam. You have some jam on you too, unless you cleaned it off recently. But everybody else, it's in the under regions, which could be a possible clue later. So you're going to go speak to the Russian tea cakes on one side?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
You know what tea cake is, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's a Christmas cookie. It's also called, I think, Mexican wedding balls as well.
They're like the dusted, like dry kind of crumbly.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Like little crumbly shortbread cookies.
Sometimes they have walnuts inside them, which I hate. I love them without, but I love those cookies. They're really good with tea. So
they are.
A bunch of them are working in a corner. They're currently taking pails of jam out and dumping it back into the river outside. One of them is also working on a plug for the hole made out of biscuit.
Well, Vance, looks like you're the hero of the mine today, so go ahead and start a conversation.
I will walk up to them
Okay.
and say hello.
All of them are busy working. One of them turns to you and gruffly says, "Yes, how can I help you?" Oh! He sees you, recognizes you as the one who plugged the hole. Welcome! Thank you so much for that excellent work you did earlier. You're not one of our regular mine workers, as you're not a donut hole or a Russian tea cake, but you did good work, and you may have saved a bunch of lives, so I'd like to shake your hand. And he sticks out a big, grubby little jam-covered hand at you.
You are most welcome, then I shake his hand.
He shakes your hand. He says, "Is there something I can do for you, sir?"
Yes, so we were looking for a few things. One of them is, what did you guys see on what caused the hole?
We were working in a different area of the mine at the time. There's towards the top, there's a chocolate deposit that we were working on. One of the other workers, I think, said that he saw Crunchsky, one of our fellow miners, in that vicinity when that happened. None of us were here at the time. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of the donut holes were in the main facility either, and it happened when somebody was taking out some butter in one of the carts, so the area was probably empty, which is why no one saw it. But he was the last one down in the general area. We've actually sent him off on his own into the chocolate areas because we are unsure if he had anything to do with it. Did you want to speak with him?
If it would be possible, yes, we would like to speak with him. Yes, please.
Certainly. I'd be happy to point out the path you need to take to get to him.
Yes, please.
Okay. So he grabs a candle from one of the corners, as you're going to need something to light your way. It kind of looks like a enlarged birthday candle with a little twist on it. So he grabs that off a wall shunt, and he takes you down a couple extra passages that are leading more up from the deepness of the mine itself. He stops, hands you the candlestick, and he says, "If you continue on this way, that should lead you to the end where we've told Crunchsky to finish working. Let us know if you find anything out. We're not really sure what happened, but we're a little suspicious."
Gotcha. I will do so, and thank you very much. And before I go, I do have a quick question. Did you guys find anything else laying around that could have also, like, any tools or anything like that laying around?
We did find a drill over here that may have been used to drill the hole out. But it was set right next to the hole, so it seems likely that was the one that was used. It's a little. He doesn't have it with him, but he describes like a little hand drill, the kind with the whirl on the side, and you just kind of turn it like this, and then it drills a hole into the ground. And as it's a butter mine, it's probably pretty easy to drill through the flour and butter into it.
And do you know who has that drill at the moment?
We don't know. It wasn't assigned to anybody in particular. All the tools in the area, in the central area, can be picked up by anyone at any time.
Okay, never mind then. Well, thank you again.
Of course. To get back out, and he gives you directions to get back out. It won't be difficult, and you should be able to remember as long as you don't get turned around.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then he trounces off back towards the other area so you can have your conversation with Crunchsky.
Crunchsky.
Oh.
And Topper.
I'm Topper.
You can talk to Topper before you go talk to him.
Oh, no, I'm not. Okay. Okay, well, Topper, let's go find Crunchsky.
All right.
Hopefully this candle is one of those candles that don't blow out when you blow it on accident.
I just hope it's not one of the ones that lights itself back up after you try to put it out.
Exactly.
A trick candle is the one you're talking about, and it is not one of those. It isn't too dark, though. You start walking through it. It's a very small one. You both are able to fit. How tall are you, Vance?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Okay, well, everybody on average is about 3.5 feet to 4 feet tall.
Let's go with 6'10".
What?
6'10".
You're not human-sized.
You won't fit then. You're gonna have to get rolled in by Topper.
You think I got the strength to roll in an entire 6-foot baguette?
It's 6 feet tall, so you should be able to crouch down. And I guess Topper is going to carry the candle, because if you crouch down, you'll burn yourself.
That's right.
Okay, so 6 feet tall will be good.
Okay.
The entire village is set up for 4-foot tall people, so you're just like Godzilla stomping through, huh? All right.
Yes, I am a Longo.
So you continue walking through.
He's just thin. He's like...
Right, that's how Tango's able to look past him so easily and see the crime scene.
His ancestors were breadsticks. It's okay.
So you walk through the mine, you start to see more chocolate show up in the walls and beautiful veins. You round the corner and you end in a room that is 10 feet wide and 6 feet tall with a large birthday-style candle in the center. It's in the center away from the walls for good reason, because the walls are all various kinds of hard butter, flour, and delicious-smelling marbled chocolate. It weaves through the walls in beautiful veins, and you can see white chocolate near the top, milk chocolate in the center, and near the bottom you have the earthy smell of dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
The Russian tea cake chipping away at the dark chocolate near the bottom, and he is completely covered head to toe in strawberry jam.
Is he all by himself?
He's all by himself, and he's turned away from you. You have the complete element of surprise.
I'm going to walk up to him and go, tap, tap, tap.
Okay, your finger gets a little bit stuck in the jam because he's covered in jam. And he puts down his little pickaxe made of whatever bread product that it's made of and turns around and looks at you and he says, "What do you want?"
You.
What do you want?
I hear that that there was a mess that was caused by someone down here. Do you know anything about it?
What are you talking about? I don't know anything. And he starts to turn back towards his chocolate.
I'm going to try to put my hand on top of his head and see if I can try to turn him around.
Jeez.
Make a strength check.
Rude.
No, I was talking to him.
We're making a contested strength roll, right?
Okay,
I don't
I'm pretty
think
sure
it's
you're
gonna
going to
matter.
win.
You don't think I'm going to win? Why not?
No,
I think
it's
you
not
are going
bad.
to win.
What'd you get?
A 6.
Okay, well, I got a 19. You put your hand on his head, and he turns around, and your hand slumps because of the jam and doesn't do anything. And he picks up his pickaxe. He says, "I think you better leave before you start making me angry."
I'm going to step in front of Vance and be like, "Hold on, buddy. I got this, okay? Just step back for a minute. Mr. Crunchsky? I just got a couple of questions for you. Something that might help us in a matter that might be unrelated but seems far too coincidental to not have something to do with what we're actually looking into. I understand that you were apparently the last one seen near the area of the mine where the hole started.
Yeah, so what?
Would you mind telling me, in your own words, what happened? I'm not saying you did anything. I want to find out what happened.
I don't know nothing about no plug, and no one's gonna make me say anything.
Well, sir, you're covered in jam, and everybody seems to think you did it. So, if you have something that can help or prove your innocence, or at least point us in the right direction to find whoever actually did this or caused it to happen, it would be in your best interest, and I assure you we're going to try to get to the bottom of it. There are far more serious things afoot than a little bit of jam getting into the butter mine.
So he turns and he takes his pickaxe and he kind of pokes you and says, "What are you going to do about it?"
I would like to try to use persuasion.
Okay.
I rolled a 12.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell him, what am I going to do about it? Well, sir, I don't know if you heard, but right around the time that the hole started in the mine, the mayor's daughter went missing, and one of the human visitors, one of the meat people visitors, was apparently beaten to death.
He hesitates. You see on his face, he's trying to put up a tough front. He's holding his pickaxe out and he poked you with it in an attempt to intimidate you, which didn't work, obviously. And you see him hesitate on his face. And he says, "I don't know nothing about it.
Look,
you better get out of here."
Maybe you don't, but they're going to try and pin this on you. You're covered in jam. You were the last one seen near the hole. If you can at least tell me why. Why did anybody put a hole in the butter mine?
Make a persuasion roll.
9.
9? He says, "No, I don't think they got anything on me. Circumstantial evidence. They think they saw me around there. I fell down in that jam, and I got covered in it, and that's all there is to it. Now, if you don't mind," he takes his pickaxe up and he swings around and he starts mining the dark chocolate again.
only downside is that we were told to talk to you by multiple people that saw you down there.
Vance,
Well,
is enough proof.
Vance, he's not going to talk. Let's go. There's got to be another way to look at this.
Should we talk to the foreman about him?
No, the foreman wasn't there. He's not gonna know. That's our only eyewitness, and until he decides that it's in his best interest to tell us the truth, he's not gonna give us anything. We should go and check on our friend, see if Phylla's okay.
We should. And then as we are about to leave, though, I do want to say, I guess he doesn't care about our own people, out loud, to try to persuade him.
he just goes, whatever, and continues mining the dark chocolate. And you guys turn and walk out of the mine, dissatisfied that you were not able to get any answers from terrible Crunchsky. But you're heading towards Phylla, which you know is back in the main town. Who we're going to go back to now? Phylla. You have left Tango in the street, talking to people, and being terrible, as usual. He's frustrated you and angered you, and you're headed off towards your house. But is that where you're going to go?
Well, so I start on the way and I'm fuming and I'm just like so mad because I know that he's wrong. And then as I'm getting closer and I look and I see his house and I'm thinking like, wait, he wasn't the only one that went in there last night.
That's right. You do remember that you yourself are a witness that you saw that he had visitors at night, which in Bunbury, it's an old-fashioned style town where everybody goes to bed at a certain time and stays there unless they're a mine worker.
It's like a sundown town.
It's correct, and it's unusual that you saw that. So that's a good enough reason in your mind probably to investigate.
Yeah, so no, I'm totally gonna like, wait a second. None of this adds up. I'm like, I'm gonna start going towards his house and I'm gonna try and like examine like, all right, are there, because I never saw anybody leave either.
You went to bed before you saw anybody leave, I would say. So there's a possibility there could be someone in there you don't know. That's true. So you do see. So I'm going to describe the house real quick. It's a cracker house. It's actually quite nice for being a regular house built in a row with the rest of the houses. It has 2 new additions on it that were added in the last few weeks, which may not have been a noticeable point before. But there are additional rooms on the side of the house, which is a little unusual. Mostly everybody has a similar style house except for the Esteem family, the Whites, the Browns, the Buns, etc. You're probably not one from one of the Esteem families, I would assume. You're one of the general population. There's a front door and a back door. You face the back door, and that's where people went in last night. Are you going to like do a circuit around the house and see if there's...
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, kind of just go around, look to see if there's anything conspicuous.
Okay.
And
so you do walk around the house. Everything does seem to be above board. It's a regular house, a little cracker picket fence. There is a news crepe paper on the doorstep that you can read if you want. That was not there last night, of course.
I guess first thing would be noticing the date on it and any major headline.
It is from today, and it's and the headline in it is "A Murder in Bunbury," and the article is burned in. So the way that it works is they have a typesetting, and they actually have it on a waffle press, and they just burn it right onto the little crepes, and then that's what gets delivered each day to everybody.
It's a heated iron printing press.
Right. It's essentially, yeah. It's pretty clever, if I say so myself. Anyway. So then the article reads, for the first time in Bunbury's history, one citizen and one foreigner have been rendered toast by some unknown assailant. With the trail running dry, mayoral candidate Tango Cream demands answers and accountability. Witnesses report the butter mine being strawberry jammed around the time of the murder. Could there be a connection? Sources are stale, but your intrepid reporter Sophronia Waffle Bun is on the case, and that's where it ends. Okay, all right. And of course, I just kind of like and roll my eyes because I'm like, that's nothing I didn't already know. That's true. It's a newspaper, so it's not right. No, and I'm just kind of like looking at how they're twisting the way that Tango is wanting to talk about it, like he's demanding accountability. I'm like, no, he's out for their, Well, I mean, like I wouldn't think of blood, but I would be thinking of he's out for their jam. Right.
or their glaze or something.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna circle back around to the back door of the house.
All right.
And I want to know if it's possible for me to I want to try and see if the door is unlocked or if it's locked.
So you can just walk right up and you can try the door handle. It is not locked because this is a friendly town where people are nice to each other. So you could walk right in if you wanted to.
Ooh, well, I'm a upstanding citizen.
You are probably at this moment the closest thing to law enforcement this town has.
And yeah.
We're a band.
Yeah.
I'm also the one with pretzel crossbows.
I've got a baguette greatsword. I know it's weird. Just Oz, man.
I'm just saying, you guys are the ones that took the initiative. You're in a tight-knit group already. You've got weapons, apparently, and you've saved a few people already from issues, and you're investigating a murder. You're the closest thing to law enforcement the town has at the moment.
We're the B team, and the B is for baked.
Or bagel.
Or bacon.
Because baked would mean that we got smoked, and we were.
So what I'm trying to get across is, if you feel like breaking and entering, you might have some sway behind your words and actions that you can get away with it.
Right, because in my mind, I'm also
you're the only one really investigating what's happening with your other two companions.
Well, they went to go try and figure out what happened with the mine, since it's all it seems like it's tied. I'm working both on we need to find the mayor's daughter, and also this guy's really pissing me off.
Yes. Yes, he's been acting suspicious, and he's willing to use a murder for a political point, which is pretty despicable. So you're gonna open it up and step inside?
I'm gonna kind of open it up and just kind of inch my way inside. I don't want to just barge in. I'm just gonna
Okay.
Is there a justifiable reason for me to get in here?
So you, I see. Oh, look, throw in the newspaper. Somebody's throwing the newspaper through this window. I have to investigate.
I heard a noise.
Yeah.
Right. I saw a weird shadow, but I knew that he wasn't home. I was trying to make sure that nobody was breaking into his house.
I love it.
Breaking into his house.
Cops everywhere.
Crispy scream.
So you open the door, and it is the back entrance to the kitchen area. The kitchen is nice and clean, surprisingly. He must have a maid come in and take care of it, because he doesn't strike you as a person who does any amount of work whatsoever except running his mouth. There is nothing of note in the kitchen except for dirty dough dishes and some cups left over. Apparently a bunch of people were there last night, which you already know, but that is further confirmation of what you saw. You don't hear or see anything as you listen for a moment.
So I come in through the kitchen and
enter into the main living area, which then branches off into two separate rooms. You don't hear a sound.
But it definitely looks like there were multiple people.
There were multiple people there. When you get to the main room after entering the kitchen, you see campaign signs with terrible slogans like "Throw out the foreigners," "Kill all meat people," terrible, awful political thing.
Things that make you want to burn it down. Got it.
Right, yeah. Basically just the worst possible scenario for everything. You see vague threats like, "When I'm mayor, we'll show people that don't believe in protecting the town," that kind of stuff.
Of course, I'm just like, ugh.
There's also a big desk in the corner with a ton of papers on it.
Okay. My skill is really terrible, but still, can I investigate the desk and see if anything again pops out at me?
Absolutely, go ahead.
We're going to pretend that didn't happen.
What did you get? You got a 2? Well, it's not a 1. However, as you're investigating and making a lot of noise with the papers, the front door opens and a woman bun walks in and slams the door.
Hopefully before she gets a chance to see me, can I drop
She saw you.
I was hoping I could sneak before
you got a 2. She saw you.
Hello.
Okay. You see a beautiful, for a bun, yellowish tinged woman with a little muffin skirt. She has a little bread notepad in her hand with a little stick that she uses to write with, and she is looking excitedly around and sees you, and she says, "Oh, hello. Are you Phylla? Phylla?"
And of course, then I'm just like, yes. And you are?
My name is Saffronia Waffle Bun. You may have heard of me.
I mean, that sounds familiar. Didn't I just read an article of yours?
Yes. I'm the reporter for the Bunbury newspaper.
I see.
I'm investigating Tango as a possible source for for the murder. I think he's hiding something, and I want to investigate.
Curious, can I check insight to see how much I believe her words?
Sure, go ahead. I mean, you could just not believe her if you want to. I mean, you don't have to make a
No, but I want to kind of I want to see.
She wants to roll dice. Let her roll dice.
I want to roll dice. Even if they hate me, because I got an 11.
You got an 11? Okay. So you don't know if she's telling the truth or not, but she does seem genuine in her desire to investigate. She says, Tango is still back giving a speech. We probably have about 10 minutes before he winds it down and maybe comes back home. Do you want me to investigate with you?
And I think about it and I'm like, well, 2 sets of eyes are definitely better than 1. All right. How about you take that direction and I'll take this direction?
All right. So you both are going to make investigation rolls in the room to find what you can find. Yeah.
Investigation sucks.
Oh my god, I got the same thing twice. What'd you get?
8.
8? That's okay. I got an 8 also. Okay, so what you see...
Intrepid investigators.
What does this paper mean? And I'll throw it around until we find something else. So you're looking in different areas of the room and you're not really finding anything of particular...
Like, is there a bloody baguette anywhere?
You're looking for a murder weapon just flat out sitting on the table. You are looking for one and you're not finding it. Make an insight roll for me, please, to see if you can figure out a better way to investigate. You're not finding too much right now.
Well, 20. Not a nat 20. It's a 19 plus 1, but...
Okay. You realize if you both focus your efforts in the area with the plans and read the plans, you might have a better chance of finding what you're looking for.
You mean on the desk?
Yeah. She's in the other corner reading campaign slogans right now and not finding anything.
Make Bunbury fresh again.
Call me Safi.
Safi. K. Got it. So, I didn't really find anything over here. Did you find anything?
No, there's a lot of really nasty campaign slogans. I don't really care for them.
Okay, so the only thing that looks like it could be useful is these papers over here. But there's a lot of them. Do you want to help me go through them and see if there's anything specific?
Sure. Let's take a look. Make another investigation roll. Ooh. There we go. 2 minutes of searching. You get anything good? You got an 11? Okay, that's all right. As you're searching, you find a button at the bottom of one of the drawers, and Safi pushes it. She got a 19, so that's a pretty good one. A compartment opens up at the top of it, and there are several documents inside it.
My eyes like, whoa, and I'm going to definitely reach and grab this.
Okay. So
is it a fat stack, or is it just a few?
There's just a few documents, but they look incriminating. You find a map of Bun Manor, including the entrance and the back way through the woods. And on the side of that map, you find a timetable of the maid's hours of work and a hastily written note saying that it's likely to change due to the strangers being there. In another piece of paper, you find your name, Topper, and Vance written with no notes of any kind, just your 3 names on a list. You find a point-by-point breakdown of the changes that Tango plans to make when he becomes mayor, including building a waffle wall, burning the dead meat man in the ovens to destroy him, taking over the nearby towns of Utensia and Bunbury, and either killing and enslaving the people, and expanding the estates of the citizens that are the Whites, Klondike, a sourdough bread roll that you're passingly familiar with, and Crunchsky. In addition, you find one final note in a letter that hasn't been sent yet that says to visit the head baker with important items to bake.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of take the piece of paper that has my name and Vance and Longdow's name and Topper's name. I'm like, people. Who's people?
Lots of names getting thrown at you, I understand.
It's okay. But Topper and Vance's name, and I'm just going to fold that up and kind of stash that away in one of my folds, I guess. I don't know if I'm wearing clothing. I'm a pastry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I care about fashion. So, I mean,
you just scan it right in like a wound and have it sticking. You're not going to take any other documents?
No. I'm just very carefully making sure I'm keeping that one.
Okay, got it.
And definitely the one with all of his like ideas for when he wins the election. Hey, Safi, this might be an interesting point to your article. And I slide that one specifically over to her.
She looks at the notes for when he becomes mayor and she says, well, none of it's good. None of it's technically illegal either. He's not doing anything to the citizens of Bunbury.
Perhaps, but I can also think that a lot of the citizens might not agree with enslavement.
You're right. I should probably take this. She takes it. She says, if you think it's okay to take evidence.
I mean, is it evidence if we haven't found the crime yet, or is it just part of an investigation?
That's true. It is investigative journalism.
Yeah. Now, if we found a crime, yes, it would be evidence, but we haven't found a crime. We've simply found documentation that might lead us to a crime.
Correct. None of this is actually directly incriminating of Tango to the murder in the first place. It's all circumstantial.
Exactly.
Let's just take it all. She sweeps it all up in her hand.
Except for the one that I tucked away.
Except for that one, yeah. She slaps down the little thing and makes sure the button gets depressed on the other side and slams the drawer and says, "Well, let's
carefully try and put the other documents back where they sort of were, even though there wasn't much of an organization.
Make a deception roll.
Deception?
Yeah.
13.
13? You get it back reasonably close enough to what you think it looks like. You also note that the minute he comes in and realizes the documents are gone, he's going to know somebody was in there. So, but whatever. He may not immediately notice it, but you do need to get out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Safi, did you just come in from the front door?
Yeah, it was open.
So, how about we don't go that way, and we'll go out this way, and so we don't possibly run into him, hopefully.
Yeah, certainly. So you both start rushing out and you rush out the door, open it slowly. What do you do?
I'm gonna, are there any windows to kind of peek out first?
These little tiny windows that are kind of hard to see through because they're basically frosted sugar.
I just want to see if I can see anybody approaching by the back door before I open it.
You look out and you do not see anybody approaching. That's true.
Okay. I'm gonna carefully open it just to try and not slam it open and just, carefully open it so I can kind of...
You feel the front door open at the other side of the house as you open the door.
Okay. And now I definitely get a lot quieter. Safi, hey, come.
Just, okay, I'm coming. She rushes out holding the papers and documents.
And I'm going to, as quietly as possible, close the back door back up.
Okay. So you close the door, and as you do that, you hear the front door close as well from the other side of the house.
And now I'm going to rush towards my own house.
Okay. You can rush there without any issue. There are people milling about, but none of them seem... Well, let's see if they actually see you. I guess it'd be good to make a roll for it, wouldn't it? No. Even more no. Okay. You make it back to your house with Safi unseen completely, as far as you know.
Okay. And I kind of
not
look at him
going
like,
how I thought it was going to go, but all right.
and I was like, oh, probably best for us to not stick together for too long.
She looks at you and she says, yes, you're right. Why don't I start writing an expose on his plans without mentioning where we got the information from?
You can say a reliable source.
Yes, that sounds perfect. Perfect. If you need anything, come by the office. It's located in the northwestern area of town.
I'll keep that in mind for hopefully when we can get to the bottom of all this.
Okay. So she takes the campaign notes with her and leaves the rest with you. And she heads back towards...
like all of the diagrams of the Bun Manor and...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she leaves all that with you because that is not pertinent to the article she probably wants to write. So now you've got a bunch of interesting evidence, and you two are heading back towards town anyway, so about that time you'd probably run into her if you were walking back this whole time after speaking with Crunchsky.
All right, so yes, Vance and I are heading from the butter mine straight to Phylla's house because that's where she told us she was going to be.
You do walk directly past Tango giving one of his speeches, but it does sound like it's winding down, and it's only a few more minute walk back to her house from there. And by that time, the speech does end, and you see people start milling about and walking around again.
Tango's none of my concern right now.
No, I love it. Good.
It has nothing. He has nothing to do with what we're trying to get accomplished at the moment.
So you make it back to her house and knock on her door, I guess?
Yep.
So when I hear them knock, honestly, I'm gonna jump. Like,
okay.
Hi.
Phylla.
Oh, hey. Please get in here.
Get in here now.
I'll go in. Yeah.
I'll go in also.
Vance is gonna have to duck and roll just to get in.
Yeah. So you literally roll like a bread roll because he's bread.
Apparently.
You open the crack door. You go into the modestly beautiful house that belongs to Phylla. It is effeminate, pink, cute, right? Or no? You can describe it.
I mean, it's probably just, a little moderate cottage style. Like, I guess they wouldn't have flowers because I'm like thinking of flower decor, but so I guess there's probably... Huh?
They have lots of flower everywhere.
I was thinking like chairs.
Yeah.
And, there's nice little filigree in the loaves that are lining almost like logs. I probably have you ever seen lace cookies?
Yes, those are really nice, yeah.
Yeah, I have like lace cookie curtains. Not
that's
curtains,
cute.
just
Okay.
like lace cookies.
And you can like move them to the side. Yeah, okay, I like that. That's cute.
But anyways, like they come in and I'm like, guys, close the door now.
So Phylla is obviously in an excited state for some reason. She seems to have found something.
So, yeah, I did a thing.
And
how are you guys? How did the talk with Crunchsky go?
He was pretty tight-lipped.
didn't want to say anything, even though we're pretty sure he did it.
I might have some...
Wait.
Well, I am sorry. I believe the donuts and the Russian tea cakes. Thank you.
It's going to take a little more than that to convince Topper, though. He needs some hard evidence, my friend, or the absolute testimony, it sounds like.
I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm worried about what his motivations were.
Gotcha.
So, I think I might have something that goes with that. We don't have to worry about where this came from. Hopefully.
Phylla, what did you do?
Well,
Phylla?
Okay, so last night when we were going back home, I was just getting ready for bed, and there were people going into Tango's house. And it's like, I didn't think too much of it at the time, aside from, okay, that's weird. But after listening to him today, I got into my head with, wait, why? Because how much of a coincidence is that, right? Like, you have the mine jamming up with all the jam, you have the mayor's daughter disappearing, and then you have something so out of the ordinary. It's not just a single visitor, at night when everybody else is in home, but like multiple people coming into your home. That doesn't look right? I'm not crazy, right?
Oh, he is running for mayor. Maybe he was having a late night strategy session.
And when you said multiple people enter the house, what did they look like?
I couldn't tell. It was too dark. All I could tell was like the door kept opening and there were shapes, but you couldn't really see because it was dark. That's my point. Like, it wasn't just, twilight, maybe we're going to have, a late bed. This was dark. Like, I was up because I just wanted a nice, warm drink to help me settle before bed. And I happened to go to my kitchen, and it happens to face in the direction of his kitchen.
That's exactly right, yes.
Yeah. So, here, and I just I don't know how to explain it better, so I just thrust the papers out towards Topper.
So she hands you both papers. You see the map of Bun Manor. You see the name. You didn't give them the names then, right?
No, I mean, I probably took them out from wherever I put them.
She hands you the paper. You see a map of Bun Manor with the maid's timetable on it. You see the names of the players, of the characters, your character names, on a piece of paper, which she would have no reason to have, so that's suspicious. And you don't see the, she doesn't give you the map, the campaign slogan of Tango or anything, but you do have these two items which do show a possible incrimination of somebody for what you would need to commit a murder in that house that night.
And this one's interesting. So remember how you're talking about the fact that, Crunchsky seems suspicious, but also there's nothing directly motivation?
Yes.
Right? I just heard you say this. Okay.
Go on.
And I flip one of the pages. Look at this. This is one of his ideas for expansion, and it specifically lists expanding certain properties, including Crunchsky's. Now, what would a low-level tea cake miner need an expanded property for? What would earn that?
But Phylla, even if he did sabotage the mine, it didn't alert anyone except for us. I mean,
it distracted.
It didn't do anything except for me and Vance. We were the first ones that saw it.
And I was the only one that went down there. He stayed up there.
Yes, but it distracted us from the manor.
I was still at the manor.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
I was the only one that went down.
So why would he sabotage the butter mine?
I can't say exactly why, but this is too coincidental to not be connected.
You probably should.
You also see the note, too, that says, it's a note to Klondike, who you've not met or seen at this point, saying to visit the head baker with an important item to bake.
Right. And does this also have the note about baking the meat people to get rid of the body?
No, that was done. That was part of the campaign promises.
That went with.
If you know about it, you could say it.
Right. But then that also has to do with explaining Safi and inducting a random.
You don't have to mention that if you don't want to. You could just say, "I also saw his plans for the future. They're scary, etc." And
that's fair. Because
information if you want to.
There was so much stuff in there, including a bunch of really terrible signs, and he even wants to go to the extent of enslaving the nearby towns with utensia, and then baking the meat people. This is
That just
atrocious.
sounds like rhetoric to get the people riled up for whatever it is he needs to do to win. I still don't understand what it has to do with the mine.
Again, I may not know all the connectors. I just know that it's too coincidental to only be a coincidence.
We should ask the mayor what's important about the mine, but we should. Does it say anything about the daughter at all on there?
Well, no. It's talking about the maids at the manor and the changes to their schedules. This way you know when they're going to be a shift change, so things might go unnoticed. Why else would you need to have these timetables? There's no reason for him to have had these.
And a map of the manor.
Yeah, and a map of the manor.
Well, we already know that multiple people broke in. The fact that the railings in the back of the house are missing told us as much. Even the meat people only have 2 arms, and there were several banisters missing, and it was more than 2, so it had to have been more than 1 person. And those are gone. We need to find out where those...
Find the mayor's daughter.
Well, obviously.
I'm pretty sure this is all connected.
Well, Crunchsky's not getting us anywhere, and I'm willing to bet that the want-to-be mayor isn't going to have anything nice to say to you after breaking into his house. So...
You don't have any proof of that. She didn't say she broke into his house.
She just gave me papers from the mayor, or the wannabe mayor.
True.
So the question is, who else can we speak to and possibly shake some answers out of?
Well, and I flipped to one of those. There is this discussion about talking to the head baker, but I don't know if it's somebody who's in on it or simply being used.
Well, if he's simply being used, then perhaps he'll be more willing to give up the information, and if he's part of it, perhaps us showing up unannounced would incite him to be a little more talkative than he normally would.
And the other thing, I don't know if I fully mentioned this, Tango is definitely watching us. He's scared of us.
Well, perhaps if we do this a little more overtly, then it will prompt him to panic and take some action that we can do something about. Let's go talk to the baker.
I agree.
Okay.
You just got to be careful, remember. It gets a little baked in there.
You're apt. It does get very hot in the bakery, which is why none of you have ever actually been there before. You know exactly where it is in the western side of town near the wheat fields. Farther away, you don't go there, Vance.
What's the matter, Vance? You worried about toasting your tips?
No.
Delightful word.
I love seeing where our best creations are made.
I don't know. You don't want to get too brown. You might turn stale first.
I'm already nice and sour, please.
Might turn into a crouton.
With some nice garlic butter.
Okay, so all of you are going to head to the other side of town now to go to the baker and talk to the baker?
Sure.
Hi.
All right, you're going to go past the town hall. You're going to see at the town hall the mayor is standing out there, and he's looking extremely worried and harried as he's talking to several citizens. He's trying to make them not panic. My citizens, I know that a terrible tragedy has befallen us this morning. I ask that all of you give space and try to let us investigate and find out what happened. Don't listen to Tango trying to make you all scared. A little kid pops up, but mister, what if the meat people are coming to eat us all, like he says? Oh, no, my child. We've had 2 in town, and I don't think there's any evidence that leads to there being foul play on the meat people's behalf. One of them was killed, yes, but we need to find what happened first. So it's too early to jump to conclusions. Everybody is safe. The butter mine jam has been resolved, and as you guys walk up, he goes, yes, that man right there. He points at Vance. He's the one who plugged the hole. Come up here, young man. And he waves you forward, and the crowd starts politely clapping their hands at you.
And I'm inching away from him because I don't want to be in the spotlight right now.
Of course, yeah.
I'm still back to being paranoid.
The mine being jammed could have been a serious problem for all of us. The butter is an absolutely essential living part of all of us, as we all have it inside, and an essential part in every single Bunburian that is made in the bakery. And you, my young man, are a hero for plugging it so quickly and efficiently and ensuring that no lives were lost. Everybody give him 3 cheers, and he leads them in a round of 3 cheers for you, and the crowd has turned on. He's used you brilliantly, as a politician would, to turn the crowd on his side.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
you your due credit as well, and show that you did something very good. He says, and that isn't the end of it either. We're going to get to the bottom of the murder. If you're concerned, you're more than welcome to stay at home. If any of you have any investigative abilities, you're welcome to come and speak to us afterwards, but it is under control and it is being worked on, and the crowd starts to dissipate.
And before he leaves, though, I do want to ask him, when are you not busy?
The crowd leaves, and he turns to you, and he just kind of drops a little bit, his stature, and you see how tired and upset he is. The fact that his daughter is missing is probably weighing on his mind quite a bit. He still has a big smoosh in his head, just like that shows that he was injured. You tried to fix it, but it's still there. And he says, if you wish to speak with me, we can speak now. Let's go inside. And he gestures inside the town hall with you to speak.
I'm going to follow.
Topper. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I was standing by. I was clapping along and waiting.
Yeah, and then we got a kitty while we're at it. So he opens the doors to the town hall. He looks at the secretary and he says, can you give us a few minutes, please? And she says, of course, Mr. Mayor. And she closes the door behind her and she goes into the main area. And he says, have you found my daughter yet?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Mayor.
I see. Are you are investigating the goings-on at the moment?
Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
I see that our town is well served with the Bunbury Breakfast Band being the investigative police force here. He chuckles a little bit because it's absurd on its face, but it seems to be effective.
It's not exactly our first choice either, Mr. Mayor, but seeing as how we seem to be tangled up in the middle of this, even though we don't necessarily want to be here, we're going to do the best that we can. I do have a question for you about what has happened. The mine. If Vance hadn't have seen it and helped stop the jam in time, what would have happened? What consequences of defiling the mine would have occurred?
The consequences of the immediate mine, beyond the loss of life of the donut holes and the tea cakes that are inside it, it could have been the entire mine itself could have perished. But the ramifications of the town itself are bad. Without butter to sustain us, we would cease living. Without more butter for more citizens, when the citizens go stale, we would have nobody to replace them. And politically, Tango would be able to use the shutdown of the mine as a wedge source as a wedge issue to show that there's too much chaos in the town under my reign for it to actually continue, and he may need to become mayor afterwards. He would use it to his benefit as leverage against me in the votes that happen.
But wouldn't that end up shooting him in the foot if you couldn't have any? It would affect him too, wouldn't it?
He would be able to say that under my leadership, I wasn't able to keep the mine in working order. You could see how quickly young Vance here was able to fix it. It wasn't an issue that was too terribly dire since it was caught immediately, but if it hadn't been caught, it could have been disastrous, and he would have used it against me in the polling.
I have a question for you as well, Mayor.
Of course.
What is your level of connection with the Klondikes?
The Klondikes?
Yeah.
The sourdough loaves?
I've never met them. I've heard their name mentioned around Tango, but I've never met them.
They're an extremely old and respected family in town. They are one of my backers as well. I have no other connection with them other than seeing them occasionally during important social meetings and functions.
Hmm. But they do back you. They don't back Tango.
They have always given me support in the past. I don't know if they would change with Tango on this is the first time we're having a mayor election in quite some time, and Tango is very popular with the people.
And I do have a question. If your daughter was to somehow escape, do you know if there is a spot that she would run to hide?
The manor. Her home.
And she's obviously not there.
No. Okay.
Not since I last checked, of course, but the body of our poor visitor is still up there. We must, I guess, get him buried. I think that's what they do with meat people. They bury them.
I would think that our first course of action would be to try and contact his own people.
That might be difficult. We do not leave our town, as you know, and a journey through Oz to the northern Gilligan country would be a long and dangerous journey for a baked good.
It's true.
We might be able to enlist the help of a nearby town. They might be able to go on a journey for us, but of course we have no way of paying them anything.
I think this just makes it all the more urgent that we find your daughter and the other meat person. And I hope we find them alive and well.
Yes.
Tango seems to think that she was eaten.
I don't think that's true.
Well, I will not hinder your investigation. If you need any assistance of any kind, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'd be happy to give you any assistance.
Or pardons, right?
Pardons? For what?
Don't worry about her, Mr. Mayor. She's just, she's getting into the role of investigator, if you catch my meaning. We'll let you know if there's any further information that we can provide for you, but other than that, we will be around town searching for clues and finding out what we can.
Of course. Thank you. Good luck in your search.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
You leave the exhausted-looking mayor in his office and open the doors back into the main street.
Once we get out on the street, I'm going to look over at Phylla and be like, pardons.
I've never done anything like this.
You really
still haven't, as far as everyone's concerned. Now, shh.
Without a police force, are there any laws even really to break?
Oh, I'm sure there are.
I mean,
I would assume it'd be more like mob rule at this point, which it's shaping up to be.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so you're going to continue heading over to the bakery?
Yep.
All right. You're going to head west. I don't have my map in front of me, so I'm kind of winging it from memory right now from what I drew. But you're going to go south past the dance hall and the library, west again towards the Jam River, which previously had started emptying itself into the mine but has been plugged. And you're going to go over the bridge, which is a familiar location to Vance because that's where the wheat fields live. And then far off in the distance to the far west, you'll find the bakery. And we're all going to just head straight there. You're going to have to go past Vance's house in the wheat fields where he threshes wheat all day. Or is that the right term? Thresh?
Sure.
Harvest.
Yeah.
Harvest.
You're going to go past...
that's where he farms. That's all.
That's where he farms. He's one of the farmers in that area.
It's where he catches wheat.
He catches it. Yoink. All right, so you're going to enter. You're going to be off in the distance of the bakery, an immense building made out of flour bricks. So it's not a cracker building. It's actually built out of solid bricks with little tiny windows high up in it. I would say much higher than you can actually look in. There's a giant chimney with tons of smoke coming out of it, and you can feel the heat coming out of the kitchens from outside in the bricks. There is one solitary door with a small staircase leading up it.
God, who's able to survive in that type of thing? I'm already feeling hot.
Well, before we get twice baked, we should get done with this.
But should we knock on it and see if we can get them to come out before we go in, or should we just go in?
You go up to the door, and you see a large pretzel attached to the handle.
Does that answer your question, Vance?
Knock. With
You
the pretzel.
knock on the door, and the pretzel giggles near you, and it shakes a little bit, and nobody answers the door knock.
I was gonna say, like, you just dough handled the handle.
So the pretzel is hanging from the doorknob with its arms up and around it, curled in. As you look at it, it tightens its arms a little bit, and it smiles at you with a mischievous little grin. And it says, "Go away."
I'm afraid we can't do that, little pretzel. You're going to have to let us in. We got some questions to ask the bakers.
So it tightens up a little bit more its arms as it twists it around, and it says, "The only way you're getting in is if you break me. And you don't want to destroy one of us, do you?"
And I was like, can I don't know what you would have me roll for this, but can I try to tickle it?
Yes, you can. You don't have to actually roll anything for it. Do a dexterity roll, actually. That would work. It's going to wiggle. What'd you get?
It's my best stat.
What'd you get?
I got a 7.
You got a 7? Okay. So you reach up and you start to coo, and it starts going tee, tee, and it starts wiggling around on you. It does seem to be effective as it is loosening its arms a little bit. Make another dexterity roll.
That time I got an 8.
You got an 8? Okay. You continue tickling it, and it does look like it's loosening up a little bit, but it says, "Oh, stop that! What is wrong with you?
We want to get in to talk to the bakers."
You're not getting in with me here.
Well, then my friend will have to keep tickling you.
I know. I can just keep going, and then I can use both hands.
Okay, you can use both hands, and you'll get an advantage for doing it. Go ahead and roll for advantage to tickle it. Did you get a 1?
What'd you get?
I mean, I got 1 on one of them. I got 5 on the other.
Okay, so this is an advantage roll, so you don't get the 1 this time. You get the 5. It does manage to squirm out of your grasp, but you do manage to tickle it just enough, and it finally it unlatches. It flops on the ground, and it looks up at you with a surly face with little salt eyes, and it says, "Well, you defeated me. I'm going home," and it just starts marching off with its arms and walks in the opposite direction. The door is
now. That was all in fun.
He says, "Don't powder my donut hole and tell me it's sugar, sweetie."
But technically that would be powdered sugar.
It wanders off angry. So, the door is now free and ready to be opened.
That pretzel boy really was in a twist, wasn't he? Well, let's
I think
go
we
in.
got him to loosen up.
Let's head on in.
After you guys?
Certainly.
Open sesame.
Maybe the giant baguette?
Baguette?
I mean, that's what you are, isn't it? A long roll?
No. Well, I'm a long dough, yeah. I'm a sourdough long dough.
Yeah. Hey, you're also 6 feet long.
Are you going to go first, Vance, or am I going to have to head this up?
I'll go in. I'll open up the door.
All right, you open the door and you step inside. It is very warm inside. You are worried that if you take an extended time in there, you will dry out quickly. The walls and shelves are actual counters. They're actually made of like marble, and lined on the walls are real cast iron pots and pans. None of this stuff is made out of regular dough material or baked goods like in the town. You see lots of different sizes, shapes, and pans. You see things that would be big enough to make cracker housing in one side, big pans. You see cast iron dishes. You see lots of utensils and all kinds of different baking pans lining the walls and lining the area. At the far end, probably 80 feet away, it's a very big room that's very dimly lit and hot, is a giant oven with a big massive fire inside it, and a big figure as tall as Vance is wearing a hat and working on the other side of the room. There is next to the stove off to the other side of the room, there's another door which leads presumably to a pantry of some kind.
Well, if this isn't enough to shake a man's convictions, I don't know what is.
This is an awesome place.
Vance, you're impressed.
Who is that by the oven?
I don't think I'm made for this kind of heat, guys.
Is...
I can feel my layers deflating.
Well,
hello over there.
We need some answers, so I'm going to start walking towards the large figure at the end of the...
Okay. So as you approach the large figure, you see that he is working on the other side of the room on a very large pan that is about 6 feet long and about 2.5 feet wide, and he is putting pastry crust inside it. He is bent over, he's got a pastry hat on, and you can see the ties of some kind of apron around his back. He is a big oblong, like a big rectangle with little dimples poked into him. And you don't know exactly what he is, but you can see that he has a great deal of salt inside him. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think he's a big old piece of hardtack.
Excuse me, sir?
He stops what he's doing, and he just immediately freezes, crimping the pie dough along this weird oblong shake pan on the ground, which is also very deep as well. He slowly looks up and turns around, and you see a mean, angry-looking face staring back at you.
I didn't mean to disturb your work, but I was told that you had a meeting?
A meeting?
We were told to come see the baker.
No one ever comes in here. It's too hot. What are you doing here?
We were sent by the Klondikes?
The Klondikes? I'd like each of you to make perception rolls, please.
13.
13?
I'm Ian today.
Natural 20.
Yeah. You got a natural 20 and a 13? Okay.
What'd you get, Jamie?
7.
Okay.
I'm Ian today.
No, Ian would have a 2 or a 1.
Or a 1. Yeah.
That's
already had a 1.
You're doing fine.
So you're farther back from the ovens because you don't want to dry out too quickly, and you're also very nervous because it's a scary environment. So you don't particularly see or hear anything, Phylla. Vance, you hear kicking at the pantry door, a tapping. You hear something going on behind in the pantry door. And Topper, you also hear that sound. But to Vance, it sounds like bam, 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 bam.
I'm going to watch the door.
Don't go in there! He reaches towards a large butcher knife that's hanging out on one of the counters.
As soon as he reaches, I'm going to draw mine and be like, "Now we don't want any trouble."
Okay.
Like, I'm just going to give him that warning, like...
Yeah.
Like.
So you open the door, Vance?
Yep.
It's not locked.
I was going to say, I'm loading up a rock candy arrow.
Okay. You open the door and you see, tied up on the ground, the missing Perzo and Madeline bound and gagged on the ground with a dough rope. And Perzo has been kicking at the door and looks really upset.
I am going to untie them as fast as I can because I know how dangerous this place is.
You don't have time yet because you're going to need to roll initiative. You hear Hardtack say, "Well, now I can't let you leave alive." Everybody roll initiative.
8.
Well, you did better than me. All
18.
Right. 18 for Vance.
Why are my good rolls?
You got both of our luck today.
You got 8, Topper.
I did get 8, yes.
All right, and Phylla, you got 4. That's okay. I only got a 6.
I have a +3.
It's okay.
So I have an important question. How much?
You'll be
room is
fine.
actually-
You've got distance.
How big is this place?
I would say so. It was 80 feet long, and it's about 20 feet wide.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that I have room for my scythe.
You do everything. Okay, so the first one to go is going to be Vance. You see Hardtack grab a sword in one hand. Okay, so he just has another long breadstick type sword with him as well, but he's also got a large kitchen knife, a real one.
Uh-oh.
So go ahead and go. It's your turn.
I will take my scythe out, and in a rage, I will reckless attack.
Okay. Make your attack roll.
So just so you know, since I'll be going in a reckless attack when I make my first attack on that specific turn, I get an advantage on my melee weapon attack rolls, but attack rolls against me get an advantage until my next turn.
They get a disadvantage.
As in if I'm being attacked, they get an advantage.
Oh, they get an advantage against you. Okay.
Because he's not defending. It's like an all-out attack.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to let you know about that.
He's going berserker.
Hi. Well, good thing I get advantage.
It's an all-out crumb brulee.
7 does not hit him. A
22
will definitely hit him. Is that a natural 20 or just a plus?
It's a 17 plus 5.
Okay. Well, it still counts.
So it would be 4 plus the additional 2, which is 6 damage.
6 damage? Okay. So Vance immediately drops the ropes on the missing Perzo and Madeline. He rounds himself around, pulls out his scythe, and launches himself straight at the Hardtack in a fit of rage at having seen the culprit behind everything, most likely. He nails his scythe right into the top and cracks him down the face, doing a pretty decent attack, and Hardtack screams in pain. And yeah, that was a good attack. And you pull your scythe out, and you get yourself a little bit of distance from him again.
How dare you attack the mayor's daughter?
Yeah. Topper, it's your turn.
Where is he standing exactly?
He's standing in front of the oven, but he has that big oblong pan with the pie crust in it in front of him.
But he's facing us, so it's the pan's behind him between...
Correct. Yes. The
All right.
oven is behind that.
I am going to try and shoulder rush him and knock him into the pan.
Okay.
And if that's successful, I want to get up on top of him and ask him some questions the hard way.
All right. Go ahead and make an attack roll. I think is what we're doing, right?
Unarmed strike, yeah. It would
Okay.
be... I guess it would technically be a grapple, but... Yeah.
A grapple. That's what? A contested one then?
Yeah, I got a 13.
Did that add your modifier for it to the 13?
Yes. Yeah, I rolled a 9, it was a plus 3.
Okay,
Or plus
so
4. Plus 3.
You get to plus... I got a 12 and he got a plus 3, so unfortunately he beats you. You rush him and try to knock him into the pan, and he is too solid and rebuffs you and spins you backwards. He says, "Haven't you been hearing the rumors around town about the animals losing their ability to speak?"
I am going to say no, but you're going to answer the rest of my questions, and I'm going to use my action surge and try to knock him in one more time.
Okay.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. And I got a 9, 12. So
Not having a good day.
You rush him again and and you get really angry that he was managed to rebuff you. He is the villain behind the plot, essentially, because you found the 2 missing people, and you've lost control of your senses and rushed him one more time to try and force him into the pan that he was working on. He immediately pushes you back, and you tumble backwards, and you're on the ground. So you're going to have to stand back up on your next turn.
Oh, I was worried I was going to end up in the pan.
Nope. He just pushed you back enough.
So how far is all of this action happening from me?
You were only like 5 or 10 feet behind everything, right? So not too far away. Hardtack is going to take a swing at the guy who just scythed him, though. So he is going to pull out his sword, and...
You get advantage.
I get advantage? Okay, cool.
I'll be honest with you, Thomas. When you did that, I was thinking of this is that you were going to kick him and say this is Bunbury.
So he got a 20 to hit you, so he's going to hit you, I'm afraid. Not a natural 20, it's a dirty 20, so don't worry, it's not...
A dirty 20.
Yeah, it's not going to actually... Alright, so 8 damage. He pulls out his kitchen knife and he brings it down. He tries to slice you in two because you're so thin, but he just manages to kind of take a chunk out of you. So you do take what did I say? 8 damage.
Yep.
8.
Yeah, 8. I got max damage on it.
Son of a wheat!
That's pretty good. He says, I made Tango to try and keep this town safe. It is now Phylla's turn.
Okay. So, I already actually loaded my rock candy arrows because they've got like rock candy arrow tips.
Sure, yeah, that'll hurt.
Yeah. And I've aimed them at him and I'm like, you filthy wheat eater! Alright, so...
Make your attack roll.
First one is a 22 to hit.
That hits. Roll your damage.
I'm sorry, I was rolling the second one as well, but alright.
The second one hits too, so go ahead and roll damage for that one also.
Damage for the first one is 5, piercing. Damage for the second one is 8, piercing.
Alright. Man, you guys are destroying this hard encounter.
Take that, you moldy cannoli!
Yeah.
Love it.
So, he rebuffs Topper and attacked Vance, and you are super angry that he has attacked both your friends and that you've seen the 2 hostages in the corner. You pull out your crossbow, aim it true, and pull back on the first one. It slides right past and knocks out one of his raisin eyes. And then you unleash the second one, and it goes right into his side, and he screams, I can't believe this.
Not his gumdrop buttons?
Right in the bread basket.
He doesn't have any of those because he's a salty, salty hardtack. He doesn't need any of that stuff. None of that frivolity on him.
You shot his eye out, kid.
Bunbury citizens would do this.
Apparently you made us as we are.
Vance, it's your turn again.
I am going to shout to the 2 ones that... You said I did drop the rope on them, right?
They're still tied up, yes.
They're still tied up. You didn't have time to untie them. It's going to take...
Gotcha.
And you're not near there now. You're engaged in melee with the hardtack.
Does he look... How hurt does he look?
How hurt does he look?
He's got a crossbow bolt in his eye and his shoulder and a big slash in front of his face that you gave him.
Yes.
He's also a hardtack, so he probably looks pretty hard.
Yeah.
At this rate, then what I'm going to do is that since I'm still in a rage, drop my scythe and run up to him and try to grapple him.
Okay, that's a strength roll. Everyone wants to grapple this guy.
Well, I don't want to kill them. I just want to.
Why not? He seems evil to me.
He's got answers.
It's true. He's also spilling his guts already.
Yeah, to us. We need him to spill it to the public. Roll
your advantage. Yeah, you win.
What'd you say? The rolls, guys.
You got a 23. You got a 17 and a 23, which were both.
I got a natural 20.
All right. You rush up to him again, and after dropping your scythe on the ground, and you pin his arms to his side and manage to avoid cutting yourself with his large kitchen knife, which is functioning as a sword. And you grapple him to the ground and hold him close, and he is enraged.
Did you knock him over into the pan like I did? I was trying to do?
No, I was just trying to get him down.
Oh.
Okay, well, you've successfully knocked him to the ground, and you're grappling him.
And I am going to shout, get them loose so they can get out of here before they get baked.
We need to get this guy immobilized.
True.
And as long as you're grappling him, whose turn is it now?
It's Topper's turn.
Aha! I am going to, roll, and with pommel of my, sword, my baguette sword, I'm gonna double-handed try to smash him in the side of the head and knock him out. First roll is a total of 20.
Yeah, that'll do.
Second roll is a total of 6, so I'm gonna choose the 20.
I would choose the 20 as well. Take your damage roll.
Because I'm using the pommel, it's gonna be... It's gonna be bashing.
Okay.
7.
7, okay.
7 to the side of the dome. Or the corner of the hardtack?
From the bottom of the ground, as he gets wrestled to the floor, you come in sweeping with the pommel of your breadstick thing and knock him in the side and take a chunk out the side of his head. And he screams again. He doesn't get knocked out though, but it's close. He is extremely woozy, and you can see that he's having difficulty keeping his faculties in. He looks weaker as well too.
Phylla, get the rope!
So Phylla, okay, and it's actually his turn next. So he's going to be making a strength contested roll with.
Makes me ask: is there a bonus for the fact that I had gotten a natural 20 on that grapple?
He'll get a disadvantage to doing your. Okay, well, try to roll better than me.
What'd you roll?
Easy. I got a 6.
Roll.
That's my list.
Do better than a 6.
You can do it, Ian.
Maybe.
You definitely keep him.
Natural 20 again.
Okay. You lock him in with his sides, and you squeeze him so hard you see his raisin eye roll back a bit.
The one that doesn't have an arrow in it?
Stay down!
He has an arrow in it. The one that doesn't have an arrow in it, yeah. You squeeze him, and you see his eye roll back, and he does appear to pass out. So, Phylla, it is now your turn. You're going to go untie one of the hostages and get the rope.
That was pretty much my plan the whole time because, well, I'm going to leave it to the two bigger dudes to deal with the biggest dude.
I mean, you did.
I'm not that much bigger.
You did a great deal of damage, actually. You took out, like, a ton of his health. He's at half health now.
Poked his eye out.
Yeah.
With your Red Rider sugar gun.
Who are you going to untie and ungag? Perzo or Madeline?
First is going to be Madeline, only because she's going to be able to survive the heat less. Yeah. So I'm going to get Madeline out so that way she can hopefully run as fast as possible to get out of the bakery.
Okay. So you're going to untie her, and as soon as you ungag her, she'll say, "You need to be careful. There's more than him that are involved in this conspiracy." She says, she undoes everything. She undoes the ropes as you help untie her, and she says, "Klondike and Crunchsky and Tango are all a part of it. And one of you needs to go with me to my father so we can rally the town to get help."
Phylla, do you have the rope?
Because I untied Madeline, I would be able to.
You can take it over.
My bonus action to toss the rope over to the guys.
Right.
Yes.
I am going to enlist Vance's aid, and we are going to try to hogtie this hardtack.
Okay, you can. He's passed out now.
Right.
So with Vance holding him down and holding the pieces together, you can both tie them up.
Right.
She will stand up and she'll say, "I need somebody to come with me in case Tango, Klondike, or White Bread Plain Paul show up."
I got this one, guys.
You sure, Topper?
Yeah, I'm going to walk over and pick up my greatsword from the ground and just put it over my shoulder and be like, "You just make sure that this guy gets back to the mayor and starts talking as soon as he wakes up. But give me a lead first so that we can make sure that we're not going to get ambushed."
Yeah, I'll let Vance handle hardtack, and I'm gonna, now that combat's over, right?
It is, yeah.
Now that combat's over, I'm gonna untie Parvis.
Okay.
Anything with wheels, like a pretzel barrel or something like that, or
there isn't anything with wheels in there, unfortunately. But you did tie him up successfully. You untie Perzo, and he immediately starts crying and sobbing.
Get the meat person to help you.
I am going to pick up my scythe back up, and then I will start trying to drag him out. And I am going to ask, can I get some help pulling him out?
Sir, I realize you've been through a lot, but really, we need you right now.
They beat him to death, my best friend. They kidnapped us. They were going to bake us in a pie.
Sir, we need to get this dealt with. Help us so we can get out of here.
He is pretty hysterical and upset right now. Go ahead and make a persuasion roll.
15.
15. You shake him a little bit, and you're trying to get his attention and break him out of the horror that he's endured, seeing his friend get murdered, being kidnapped, being held in a closet overnight with somebody else, and being told that he's going to be murdered most likely. And you see his vision clearing, and he says, What do you want me to do?
All right, so let's take this other rope, and I hold up the rope that I untied him from, and let's get. We can use this to help drag this Tack Baker out of here, so we can bring him to justice. Okay.
Okay.
I can't do it on my own. I'm too light.
So he grabs the rope and he walks over to Hardtack and he kicks him in the side, and he says, "And that is for Parvis." And you see him reach down and tie some of the dough knot up onto the 3 other knots that are done. And then he says, "Okay, you want to drag him to the town?"
I want to drag him at least until we get to my house. And then, actually, I was going to ask Phylla to go to my house and grab one of my wheel doughs.
Okay.
How?
Aren't we all tiny compared to the human? Couldn't the human just pick the dude up and put him over his shoulder?
He is actually, the Hardtack is pretty tall.
Oh.
Apparently Vance is 6 feet.
6 feet and skinny though. So I mean, he's probably only got like 12 inches in width. But let's see. If you're recommending that he pick up the guy and carry him,
as soon as they had the plan, I am grabbing the mayor's daughter by the hand, and we are taking off. Like I'm literally, one hand has the sword balanced over my shoulder as we're running, the other one's got her, and we're tearing off into, over to somewhere that she can, provide.
Her hand is very dry when you hold it, as a result of her spending too much time in the bakery, unfortunately. You guys go tearing out of the bakery, past the wheat field, past presumably Vance's house, and you enter the town proper. You don't see anybody milling about at the moment, and you don't see Tango anywhere. But the last place you saw the mayor was at the town hall, and there's also the residence up above. And she says, "Let's go back to the mayor's residence. Let's go back home and talk to Dad there, and tell him who's behind everything, and rally the town to get them and bring them to justice."
Okay.
So she pulls her hand towards you, and she takes you back up towards the mayor's residence, where presumably he will be. The other 3 are back at the bakery, and you're having him test the weight of Hardtack to see if he can carry him.
That was what Vance was talking about. I was more imagining dragging him by his feet, so his head can bounce along the road.
Yeah,
because that's kind of. I feel like that's appropriate.
I was gonna have Phylla try to grab my wheel dough on the way back so that we can easier.
She hasn't left yet, so you can suggest that to her now.
Phylla, can you grab my wheel dough at my house? There was a house that we passed by. If you can grab one of those wheel doughs.
Am I able to push it? I'm like half your size.
You should be able to. It makes things a lot more easier to carry. That's why I have one. It makes it easier for farming.
Perzo lifts up the leg and says, "I like the first plan. Let's just drag him out."
Between the 3 of you, you should be able to drag him pretty easily.
He's not that heavy, yeah.
And also, I feel it's appropriate.
Remember, he's hardtack, not heavy tack.
However, though, I can't let a doughy citizen get overly killed or destroyed, even though they themselves dealt high damage.
I think he gave that up when he was about to murder another citizen.
Yeah, you got crickets there, bud.
I do.
So Perzo grabs his leg and starts yanking him rudely towards the door, and his other leg goes the wrong way a little bit as he starts pulling him. And he says, "I want to see him face justice for the murders that he helped enable."
Oh, no, he definitely deserves justice.
"Give me his sword." And the kitchen knife on the table, he grabs it and he holds it in his other hand and starts walking with you back towards town. bumping down the steps. Bam, 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 the head.
Just don't forget, he is the only one that, to my knowledge, that knows how to make another perfection.
Perzo turns and looks at him and says, "He doesn't look damaged to me."
With missing an eye and corner of his head off.
He's still alive, isn't he? Unlike Parvis.
And now that I think about it, I want to know where that tweaky little pretzel ran off to, because he was barricading the door so we couldn't get it.
Get it open.
But I think that's a mystery for another day.
Yeah. So you drag him back towards town past the wheat field as well. The two of you make it, Madeline and Topper make it to the mayor's residence, burst open the door, and you do see the mayor sitting in his living room, and he stands up. "Madeline, you found her! Where was she?" He reaches his arms out to hold her, and she rushes in to hug him, and she crunches a little bit because she's so dry now. He says, "You're so dry. You're going to go stale before your time."
It was Hardtack, sir. We went to the bakery and found him. He had Madeline and the meat person tied up and bound in a closet. He told us all about his plan. My other two friends and the meat person should be bringing him back here. But we have enemies in town. We might be under attack soon, sir.
Hardtack Hank did this?
Yes,
He's
amongst
been around
others.
for hundreds of years. He's made every citizen of Bunbury. He's made me. He's made you. He's made Madeline. He's made everyone. Why would he do this?
He made Tango too, sir. He made Tango expressly for a purpose. Apparently he's panicked because something's going on with all the speaking animals. A lot of them have gone feral and aren't speaking anymore. And he intends to insulate the city against any sort of outside attack from these animals, but he's going about it all wrong. He's promising things to some of the families and trying to enslave other villages and settlements. We need to put a stop to it now.
We need to tell the town immediately. Everyone, follow me. He stands up and he holds his daughter and pulls her towards the door and opens the door and heads back down towards the main town proper. And as he heads down there, and I presume you're following him,
Yes.
the other characters come running up, dragging behind them a very battered-looking hardtack, all tied up in the road, with a few extra bumps and chips out of his head, and a very beaten-up and somber-looking blue meat man holding him as well, and the long doe carrying him as well. The mayor goes to the town hall and he starts yelling, "Citizens of Bunbury, quick! Come out into the streets and hear for yourselves the truth of what happened yesterday." The people start to gather, come out of their buildings, and they start to gather. They don't recognize Hardtack at first. The mayor knows who he is, but apparently nobody else does. Tango is conspicuously absent.
Since I was kind of walking behind them as they were dragging Hardtack, I'm going to come up beside him and kind of like push him into a sitting position if I can.
You can.
Tell him what you did.
So he gets pushed up and he gets roused and he looks around and he sees everybody in town is staring at him and a couple people are whispering, "Who is that? Where's that ugly gnarled piece of dough?" And the mayor says, "This is Hardtack Hank. He is the head baker in town. You may not remember him, but he is the one who created all of you. And apparently is the one behind what happened last night. He's the one who murdered the meat person Parvis, kidnapped my daughter, and kidnapped the other meat person Perzo, who stands there and he is actually just crying. Tears are coming down his face and running through the dye and leaving little white streaks on his skin. Well, what do you have to say for yourself?" He looks surly and he looks around and he says, "I was only trying to protect the town."
I'm going to stand up next to him and just look down at him with my sword over my shoulder and be like, "Tell them what you did, you monster."
He sighs heavily as he realizes that the plot is completely up. "I created Tango after hearing the rumors and hearing from animals around town, most of you do not go beyond the boundaries of the town because it is dangerous to leave. I created Tango to be the voice that would make sure that our town is protected. The animals in the nearby forest have reported to me that there are missing animals that have gone feral. They would eat us if we ventured too far, and eventually would attack us in our very own town. And I needed a representative in the town to keep us safe, and I created Tango for that purpose.
And then to keep us safe, you were going to kill one of us?
Tango wasn't supposed to kill anybody. He wanted to cause confusion in the mayoral race by jamming the butter mine and then murdering the meat people and trying to pin it on the other meat person. And he gazes over at Perzo, who is still crying and looking angry and enraged.
And instead of actually telling people about this, you wanted to keep it a secret?
How can we keep people safe if birds come from the sky and attack them? It would cause a panic.
You better prepare people at least and inform them but not hide it?
I didn't want to give any information before it was absolutely confirmed.
While they're in the middle of this, I actually would like to try and lead Perzo away a little bit to give him some privacy while he grieves.
Okay, yeah.
Now that he's finished this gruesome bit that he had to deal with.
Yeah. So as you lead him away, he just turns and he kind of sits down on his haunches and then sits down on his back and just looks sad and cries a little bit. He says, "What am I supposed to do? I'm hundreds of miles away from my kingdom of Pumperdink. I have no way to return. I have no way to give the flower for the prince's birthday, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but is the only reason I came here. And I have my best friend in the world was murdered. What am I going to do?" And he cries.
I'm gonna try and console him. I don't really have any good words. I'm gonna try and be like, "I'm sorry. I know it's not much, but I'm sorry."
So you hug him, and you do see that he does hug you back, and he does feel like he's letting out some of the anguish that he's felt, and you are comforting him and making him feel better. Back to the other group with Hardtack, the questioning continues. Hardtack says the plan was for Tango to win the mayoral election, build us a safe wall, one initially out of Waffle and then another out of Hardtack like myself, and insulate the town from the beasts that are surrounding it. I don't know what else he did. He brought the people with him and said that we needed to bake the meat people to show that they would be no threat. And I foolishly agreed to this plan.
How is a wall supposed to keep the birds from our citizens? You idiot.
He says, "I only did what I could with the resources that I had." Anyway, you know the story, you know the agents involved. Do as you will. And he sits down sullenly and looks straight ahead.
All right, everybody, we need to get Tango and who are the other names?
Klondike.
Tango, Klondike, and one of the whites, Plain Paul.
And Crunchsky.
And Crunchsky. Oh, Crunchsky was implicated as well, yeah. So you say that out loud, and the crowd itself sounds outraged. They've been listening attentively this whole time. They've noted there was a conspiracy. You can use the townspeople to your advantage. There is a big number of people, so if you want to point at like different people, you could say, "You go get Tango. You head towards the mine." You've got donut holes in the back and the tea cakes in the back as well. You've got different various citizens that can be rallied to the cause. It sounds like.
Yeah, and as long as once we announce who all the conspirators are, that's what I'll be doing. I'll walk to the tea cakes and be like, "Crunchsky's yours, guys. He betrayed your trust."
They rush up down. They say, "We knew he was behind this." They rush.
Donut holes are happy.
You head over to the other side where the residents nearest to Tango, and you say, "You've heard what's been done. Go get them." They rush off towards Tango's house. And then you point to other groups to go towards Klondike, who lives in the north of town, and the White Estate,
Just rally the people and send them off in opposite directions.
You send them all off in opposite directions, and you start and you wait. The mayor comes up to all three of you and Perzo, and he says, "I'm so sorry for what's happened to you. Our town has been a peaceful one and a quiet one, and has never had a murder of any kind. I know that no apology can possibly make up for what happened, but please accept my apology for the tragedy that befell you and your family and your kind in my house, and accept our apology as a town as well." Then he turns to the three of you and he says, "What are we going to do with the conspirators once we find them? We can't let them be in this town causing this kind of trouble."
But the only problem is that also he is the only one that knows how to make us.
Other people can be trained to learn that skill. We do have books in the library that do go over how to make Bunbury citizens. He's merely the one that was lasting the longest and has been in charge the longest, but perhaps there's a chance for a new order. You plugged the butter mine, and you've said that you've had an interest in making people. Would you be interested in learning the trade of making new Bunbury citizens?
I would definitely.
Okay. Well, I suppose that still leaves in question exactly what we should do with the conspirators.
I have an idea about that, Mr. Mayor.
He turns and looks at you.
If Hardtack Hank is correct and the animals are starting to go wild and are on the verge of attacking all of us, then the Emerald City needs to know. And our meat person friend here has to take his friend back to his home, so I suggest that I go with him and take the conspirators with us to the Emerald City. The Scarecrow will know what to do with them.
That is wise counsel. Would we be able to transport all of them safely without them attacking you or Perzo on the way?
I'm sure we can construct a wagon of some sort.
And these conspirators, they're not fighters. Honestly, they would be probably more afraid of what would befall them if they left.
Once we're beyond the walls of the town, then yes, I'm sure they'd find it much more advantageous to stay with me than to venture off on their own.
You, Vance, do you think you could use the kitchens to construct a prison wagon?
Yes.
You get on that immediately. We do need a prison wagon, so go get that started immediately. You should be able to last at least a month in ovens before you go bad. As you guys are talking, the miners come out, and they are dragging in a howling and very sticky and angry Crunchsky. And he says, "I demand to know the meaning of this." And they say, "We knew you were behind it." And they drag him and they drop him in front and deposit him right in front of all of you.
Hey, Crunchsky.
Remember this?
He turns up and looks at you.
You recognize this guy?
He turns and looks at Hardtack Hank and he goes, "Never saw him before."
Well, he seems to know exactly who you are.
He looks around and he sees that all of you are looking at him, and he just immediately caves and he says, "I met with Tango the same night that the night before, and he discussed that I should plug the mine as a way to make the mayor look incompetent and help him in the election. But I had nothing to do with the rest of it."
Yeah, sure.
That's enough.
So he admitted it, and he sits down, and they stay around him to make sure he doesn't move. And then after that, up comes a big, long sourdough, and Perzo immediately starts and looks back as he sees him coming up with the group of citizens as he's led up, and he says, "This is outrageous!" And then he sees Hardtack, and he sees Crunchsky, and he sees Perzo and Madeline, and he goes, "I see." Perzo says, "He's one of the attackers who beat Harvest to death last night. He looks scared, and he looks like he wants to kill him at the same time."
He'll get his. How about you have a seat there, Sourdough?
Sourdough sits down, and he says, "You apparently already know. I won't say anything." And he just turns and doesn't say anything. And then from down the street comes everybody's favorite person, howling in outrage as he's carried on top of the hands of the citizens, and every once in a while, somebody throws a punch into his backside from underneath. And he says, this miserable treatment, all of you, I'll have you baked in the ovens. Baked, I say.
I can't.
No, you won't, because I control it now.
They
I
throw
can't
him
help
roughly on the ground.
Smirk.
And there he is, staring in front of you, the master of the conspiracy.
Well, Tango, I guess the mayor's running unopposed this year.
And I'm gonna. The streets are pretty much just made of flour, right?
Flour and meal. That's correct.
Yeah. I'm gonna take some of that. I'm gonna try and kind of compress it together. I'm like, this is sweeter than your glaze, and I shove it right into his mouth.
They're holding his arms to the side so you can do it uncontested. You shove it right into his face and grind it in a little bit, just rubbing it in, and he chokes on it a little bit, and he starts to try and munch through it, but you have shut him up for quite a while now. He looks angry and upset. The other group comes back, and they say, we're at the Whites, but they've apparently fled. None of them are at their estate.
All right.
They won't get far.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Leave town? And all the Bunburyans laugh. None of them leave town ever.
Well,
and if nothing else, especially now they're scared of the birds.
Yeah, the birds did attack you guys, and you mentioned that, and it would probably be a part of the newspaper, too. Nobody's told the newspaper lady anything. She's still back in town. They're back at the newspaper place.
She'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I'm sure she will.
Like everybody in town that would read the papers already hear and part of the story, so...
So Perzo stands up and he says, I'm pleased to see that there will be justice done. Mayor, will you honor the agreement to provide flour to the Kingdom of Pumperdink for the birthday? And the mayor turns and looks at him and he says, of course. You don't need to give us anything in return. It is absolutely the least that we can do for you. And he nods his head, and he looks sad, but he looks like at least he's accomplished one mission while he was here. And he says, he turns and looks at all three of you, and he says, and I can see that not all the citizens of your city are bad or evil. And I thank all of you for saving my life and ensuring that I wouldn't have been horribly baked into a pie and fed to the citizens.
Don't worry. We'll make sure you and your friend get home safely.
So he reaches down and he hugs each of you in turn, crunching you a little bit because you're pastries, but it is a genuine, heartfelt thanks, and he is grateful, and he finishes with Topper and says, and you wish to travel with me to the Emerald City and to my kingdom?
It seems only right after everything you've been through. Besides, we need to warn the Scarecrow about what's going on down here.
Of course, yes. We didn't encounter any feral beasts on our way down, but that is a troubling issue if it is indeed happening.
Well, he needs to know it. It's so out of the ordinary.
Where is Parvis's remains? Have you buried him?
We have not. He is still lying in state at the mansion.
I see.
We didn't think that it was appropriate until we could get him back to your home.
I think that is wise. We will wrap him, and we can take him back to Pumperdink, and we can bury him with honors.
So I'm going to turn to the mayor and go, sir, I'm wondering, so Topper is going to go with the meat person to travel to the Emerald City. Vance is going to start learning how to bake new citizens. But we still have some of the conspirators out there.
Who's missing?
You said the Whites fled.
The Whites fled, yes.
I know that generally it isn't necessary, but would you be okay if I patrol the streets to try and make sure that nothing this vulgar happens again?
Bunbury has never had a need for a police force, and there's only one police force officer in all of Oz, and we know that he resides in the Emerald City. But I can think of no one better than to have you be the first police officer in Bunbury. And I would be happy to honor, if you would honor me as the first police force in Bunbury.
I appreciate it. I don't need to be seen as an officer, simply a citizen who wants what's best.
Of course. Neighborhood watch if you wish, and he smiles. Okay, so that actually is going to bring the Bunbury tale to an end. We have successfully solved the murder. We have identified the conspirators. All of them are going to be taken to the Emerald City for punishment. And the surviving Pumperdinkian, Perzo, is traveling back under guard with Topper and the prisoners and the body of his friend who will be lying buried in his home country. And finally, we have everybody has had a little character arc resolved. Vance was able to become the new baker in town by learning it in the library, and Phylla was able to, did I say that right?
Phylla. It doesn't matter. I'm not.
Phylla was able to become the first official police force in Bunbury, so everybody's had their own little arcs. So that ends the tale of the Bunbury mystery murder. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the first episode of the Elsewheres in Oz mini-series that we'll be having whenever a player isn't available to play. We'll try to get as many people as we can together and do a story that takes place somewhere else in Oz while also having something to do with the ongoing plot in small ways. As you can see in this one, it revolved around the ongoing mystery of the animals losing their ability to speak, and other little things were sprinkled in as well. I hope you stay tuned for the next episode, and until then, thanks for watching.
See
Come back
ya.
to Oz sometime soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Adieu.
Deception?
Yeah.